Greetings, everyone. We are going to be going over their instructional guide for the 4 facts worksheet 1 of 4. This is entitled Self-Governance. Will satisfy the video portion called Destination Made It. So when we think about making it, that term made it, like I made it from point A to point B. What does that mean? My son was murdered in 2019, and I thought about this deeply. I'm a deep thinker, but one of his so-called friends creates a post, and he dedicates it to not only my son but also the rest of the dead homies who ain't made it. So I stopped and thought, like, nigga, your ass is down here in traffic like everybody else, like me and everybody else. So what does that mean to make it someplace? What did it take for you to get there? There's a part of the brain called the amygdala. If I'm pronouncing that right, I always have a hard time pronouncing it, but it's called the amygdala, Amygdala. And I started studying this part of the brain back in 2012 or 13. Very fascinating part of the brain because it records how we deal with stressful situations, like having to make it from one point to another. This part of the brain records all of that. As I said, it not only records all of the things that it took for you to get from one place to another, but it also, all the stressful things that may occur during the day, but it also records how you deal with stress. So what they found is that the majority of the information is stored on our DNA is traumatic because you're having to go throughout the whole day dealing with things like waking up in the morning and going to work, or to, if you have a business, you planning out your business routines or activities, even having to worry about what it is you're going to eat, or the fact that you even have to eat. Because remember, if you can think back for enough to a time when you didn't have to worry about eating, basically when you were in the womb, having to come from that to this, or the present moment, having to worry about these things. Even if you are a multimillionaire and you have a cook or a chef, you still got to worry about whether they had a good day, and then whether, the farmer had a good day and is growing the crops right, whether the people at the USDA are having a good day. So basically, down here on this planet, you have to worry about stress. So this part of the brain is fascinating because it records how you deal with stress, which is more important than the stress itself. So looking at your worksheet here, you have the touch, smell, sound, and sight. These are the things that are in the environment, but more importantly, these are the things that you're going to use to deal with stress. So if I'm in traffic, and I know I'm going to be in traffic, what I do whenever I leave the house, I have certain things. I'm over 50, so I'm having hot flashes and stuff. Sometimes I may have passengers in the car, and like it's January, February right now, so it's kind of cold. And if I'm having a hot flash, I don't want to freeze my passengers out, so I will whip my little fan out, my handheld fan. And yes, I do be driving with one hand and fanning myself with the other. But that's one thing that I use. So that will satisfy, I guess, the touch portion. I also have meditation music or sounds that I use to calm myself down if I know I'm going to be in traffic. The aromatherapy, I have diffusers in my car that I can use that will satisfy that. And again, the amygdala records all this. It uses the information that you give it to teach it how you deal with stress, and it records the whole process. So if you can do this whenever you come up with a stressful situation or a trigger, you are actually combating and reversing that trauma that's being caused to that part of the brain. And what they learned is your brain actually becomes more placid, or I don't say plastic, but more pliable. You don't want a hard, rigid brain. You want a brain that's, soft and placid. So learning to deal with stress in this way, the more that you do this, the more placid that your brain is. And the longer that you live, you actually grow new brain cells when you use these techniques. So you want to get your students to come up with conclusions, to be able to recognize patterns or solutions, if any, that they can identify, that they can turn traumatic experiences into positive ones. And then you record that either on, have them record that on a piece of paper or the canvas that is provided. It will take 7 to 14 days if you use a canvas to turn that into handbags. But when they do, you'll be able to give them back to your students as a reminder of, I call it breadcrumbs, how to get back to, or how to get back home when you are going from one place to another. It always helps to know how to safely return home. So that's it. I'm also going to be providing a visual on how my process is, or how I do my handbags in the next video. So peace.